Expectation can be a heavy burden. For Argentina and Lionel Messi, anything short of a win in the World Cup final will be seen as failure. But first, they have to recover from a stuttering qualification campaign and get past battle-hardened Croatia, unpredictable Nigeria, and giant killer Iceland in a tough Group D. Cristiano Ronaldo thrives on expectation and lives for the spotlight as Portugal's chosen one. While Peruvian expectation has been Jefferson Farfan's biggest enemy. The weight of the cup varies for all the contenders on the road to Russia 2018. There isn't much more you can say about Portugal's Cristiano Ronaldo other than he's almost done it all. Almost. He's missing this. Russia 2018 is not just his last chance to grab it, but with Portugal's rising talent, it is easily his best chance. And for all his famous arrogance and strut, he wants it bad. He's on record as saying he doesn't need a World Cup to crown his career, citing 5 Ballon d'Ors, history-making Champions League trophies, and too many other accolades even for him to mention.
To speak about myself, individual, I don't need to speak because the numbers, they don't like. Amazing season again. We win trophies. And of course, it's one of the best moments in my career. I have opportunity to say that every year. That is true.
But you only have to see his reaction after Portugal won Euro 2016 to know that playing for his nation humbles him just a little.
Thank you very much. This victory is for all of you, all who are here in Portugal, all immigrants, these players, this coach, this staff. We've entered the history of Portugal. We are the first to win an important competition for our country. But you deserve it, because you always believed in us.
As soon as Portugal qualified for Russia 2018, Ronaldo was tweeting out messages which spoke to his pride at wearing the captain's armband for his nation. The son of a cook and a gardener, he left school at 14, the start of a journey which has taken CR7 to the highest platforms of club football. Now football's greatest stage awaits, his prospects with Portugal coming up. And then, Lionel Messi's Argentina has a tough time ahead in our Group D analysis. In 3 previous World Cup appearances, Cristiano Ronaldo has proven his star power for Portugal. He missed out marginally on the best young player in his nation's quarter-final appearance in 2006 and was easily their best in 2010 when knocked out by eventual champions Spain in the round of 16. Ronaldo played injured in 2014 and his lack of influence showed as the Navigators were eliminated at the group stage. Historically a team reliant on individual stars, Eusebio in the 60s and 70s, Luis Figo in the 90s and 2000s, and now CR7, Portugal has never quite had the depth to compete with the other football powerhouses of Europe and South America. But maybe now is their time. A triumphant 2016 UEFA European Championship campaign, largely won without an injured Ronaldo in the final against highly fancied host nation France, proved they had the right tools. Now everyone is tipping Portugal as a serious threat in Russia, and the belief the navigators have built might be their greatest weapon.
As national coach, I will repeat what I've always said. With this team, we will go until the end of the world. We will play against any opponent with respect and with the conviction that we can win. And that's what we're going to do in Russia, always playing with that ambition.
Ronaldo has long been Portugal's sole provider. He's their game's record holder and leading scorer by big margins. And he contributed 15 goals and 3 assists in UEFA qualifying for Russia, playing 9 of their 10 games. But a quality 9-goal cameo in qualifying from CR7's new right-hand man Andre Silva shows just why Portugal's time might be now.
I think this team is clearly one of Portugal's best ever. They are 2 great strikers. One is the best in the world who always scores, and the other is a young player who is starting to show his talent and who has scored regularly, mainly when playing for the national team. But it's all a product of teamwork.
At 33, Ronaldo still strikes fear, commanding all attention. He'll relish the Russian spotlight with his trademark confident stride, shielding his teammates from the pressures of football's greatest stage, allowing Silva and company to play with freedom and verve. And if they do, his reward will become his greatest legacy. A World Cup held aloft previously by Pelé and Maradona, but never by Ronaldo and Messi. Football's modern constant is the comparison with his Barcelona rival. Portugal's win would put a prompt end to that and start a new debate across generations. Pelé, Maradona, or CR7? Stadiums have been going up all over Russia, but in the most eastern of the World Cup cities, Ekaterinburg, some things have been coming down too. The central stadium, which hosts 4 group matches, has been rebuilt to a capacity of 35,000. But the city's most recognizable and notorious landmark, an unused media tower, has been blown up because it was considered an eyesore on the skyline. Construction on the tower began in 1983, but it was halted in 1991 after the collapse of the Soviet Union. At 700 feet, it was the world's tallest abandoned building. The even spread of the 32 teams in Russia has meant the absence of a genuine group of death. But if there has to be one, most pundits would nominate Group D. That's because there are no easy beats, with Lionel Messi's Argentina, everyone's second favorite team Iceland, the battle-hardened Croatia, and free-spirited Nigeria, all having good reason to aim confidently for progression to the knockout stages. It's a group overflowing with storylines. Messi's possibly final bid for the only thing missing in his incredible career. The romance of tiny Iceland battling the giants of the world game. And then there's the coincidences that saw these 4 thrown together. Argentina and Nigeria know each other so well. It's the African nation's 6th time at the World Cup, and the 5th time they have found themselves in Argentina's group, losing all 4 so far. Croatia and Iceland know each other pretty well too. They played off for a place in the 2014 World Cup, were drawn in the same group for European qualifying for this tournament. And now coaches Heimir Hallgrimsson and Zlatko Dalic must go to war again.
I talked to Zlatko today earlier, and I said if there's one team that I don't want to meet is Croatia. We've played them so often. We played them in the playoff for the World Cup in Brazil. So we're like a married couple, Iceland and Croatia. And I definitely am going to file for a divorce after the World Cup because I don't want to meet Croatia again.
The Pot 1 side is, of course, Argentina, with a world ranking of 4 at the time of the draw. Croatia at the bottom of Pot 2, Iceland on the rise in Pot 3, and Nigeria Pot 4, but capable of anything on its day. Argentina has to be favorite to top the group for no other reason than their culture. In 2014, they made the final in Brazil, beaten in extra time by 1 German goal. Then there's their 2 victories in 1978 and 1986, and the fact that in the last 40 years, they have played every tournament and only failed once to progress from the group. And yet their lead-up form has been terrible. For a while it looked like they would even miss a spot in CONMEBOL qualifying, and for all their exciting goal-scoring talent, with Messi, Aguero, Higuain, Di Maria, Dybala and more, only Bolivia scored fewer goals. A 6-1 thumping in their March friendly against Spain was another confidence sapper, even if Messi and Aguero were both out injured. Croatia seems to have perennial struggles on and off the pitch, and is on its 3rd coach in this World Cup cycle. But with captain Luka Modric and other goal-scoring talent like Mario Mandzukic, Ivan Rakitic, and Ivan Perisic, all in the veteran class, there is a sense of now or never for the Croatians to replicate their debut semi-final appearance from 1998. Nigeria is the only African nation to have progressed out of its group 3 times at the World Cup, and there is abundant skill in the lineup to defy their lowly ranking. They stitched up a place in Russia with a game to spare in qualifying, which is just as well considering they were given a loss in the last match for fielding an ineligible player. And finally, Iceland, with the smallest population of any World Cup qualifier, but perhaps the loudest and certainly the most inspiring. Who would not welcome the Viking thunderclap at any tournament? After the break, we look at the 6 matches in Group D and assess which teams are most likely to progress. Can Lionel Messi and his nation finally find joy together? Momentum. Hard to generate, even harder to stop. So when Argentina and Iceland kick off Group D at the Spartak Stadium in Moscow on June 16, they will be playing for something almost as valuable as the 3 points. For the 2014 beaten finalist and 2-time World Cup winner Argentina, the opening match is the chance to win back momentum after a faltering qualifying campaign. When only a Lionel Messi hat-trick in the final game against Ecuador saved them. But if Messi can lead them to victory again here, the pain of 2014 and the frustrations since will be wiped clean. Their opponents know all about momentum. Fired by a 98% approval rating from their entire population of 334,000, the Icelanders built a momentum which took them to the Euro 2016 quarter-finals. Then it took them to the top of their group in World Cup qualifying. The Viking thunderclap has become an iconic battle theme, but a loss to Argentina could send a message that in the big league, against the big boys, the little nation can't cut it. The 2 nations have never met, and the geographical gap between them is not as large as the difference between their football achievements. Neither is the record of Iceland's captain Aron Gunnarsson in any way comparable to Argentina's captain Messi. But he doesn't have the baggage either. Surely no Golden Ball winner has ever looked more miserable about winning as Messi did in 2014. The lack of international team success on his resume, very much a sore point. If he steps onto the Spartak arena and dances rings around Gunnarsson and company, look out. But if the Vikings stay cool as ice and freeze out the Argentinians, their momentum will keep building, and set up one of those romantic charges into the knockout rounds every cup seems to have. When Croatia and Nigeria make their first appearance for the tournament at the Kaliningrad Stadium, they'll be relying on their captains and talisman to kickstart their momentum. So step up Luka Modric and John Obi Mikel. Both closer to the ends of their careers than the beginnings, but both still sublime midfielders, creating opportunities for their forwards with a measure of calm and precision. Modric, 6 times Croatian Footballer of the Year, starred through his nation's checkered qualifying campaign, despite facing perjury allegations by Croatian authorities over evidence he gave at the fraud trial of a director at his original club, Dinamo Zagreb. When Chelsea decided to end John Obi Mikel's decorated 10-year career with the club, he was not yet 30. But rather than find another spot in Europe, he elected to take the easier money in China with Tianjin Tida. A work permit issue prevented him from playing in the March friendlies for Nigeria, but he is still revered back home for his efforts in helping Nigeria advance from its group in 2014. Named man of the match in his World Cup debut. Croatia is in its 5th World Cup, while Nigeria is in its 6th. They have never met before and appear evenly matched. The key will be to see which captain can push their worries aside and create enough opportunities for their talented forwards to convert. Talented forwards abound in the Argentina-Croatia match at the Nizhny Novgorod Stadium on June 21. For Croatia, Internacional's Ivan Perisic, Barcelona's Ivan Rakitic, and Milan's Nikola Kalinic are all versatile and experienced. But the one they will rely on most for some magic is Mario Mandzukic, the powerful Juventus forward who scored a brace and won Man of the Match in his World Cup debut in 2014, and owns a goal against Real Madrid, adjudged one of the greatest ever in Champions League. Mandzukic, though, is coming off a lean year. In 11 matches for Croatia in 2016, he scored 9 times, but in 2017 found the net only once in 7 internationals. Argentina's options look frightening on paper, even without Messi. There's Juventus striker Gonzalo Higuain and PSG winger Angel Di Maria, but the one they really need to fire is Sergio Aguero, Manchester City's goal machine. Funny thing is, for all his records, Aguero has been to 2 World Cups and is still waiting for his first goal. He and Mandzukic might hold the key to this clash, the 5th between the two sides. The latest, Argentina's win in a 2014 friendly, giving them the edge. Nigeria is the 2nd most populated country at the World Cup, with 195 million citizens, compared to Iceland's 330,000, the smallest World Cup support group ever. But with a geographical advantage in Russia, the Icelanders could outnumber the Nigerians in the stands at Volgograd Arena in the 4th game of Group D. The two nations have met only once, back in 1981. This clash could be decided by individual flashes of brilliance from 2 mercurial stars, Victor Moses and Gylfi Sigurdsson. Moses blossomed as a wingback under the rule of Antonio Conte at Chelsea, but Gernot Rohr has used him more freely for Nigeria as a winger. Iceland's Sigurdsson will be dangerous as a midfielder or winger, provided he is match fit, after missing the back end of Everton's season with a knee injury. Despite having the worst World Cup ranking in their group, the Nigerians will fancy their chances here. Iceland suffered poor defeats to Mexico and Peru in March. The hangover since qualification, a worry for coach Heimir Hallgrímsson. And so to the old foes. Nigeria and Argentina meet at St. Petersburg. And if recent history is a guide, it could be an entertaining shootout. 20 goals have been scored in their last 4 encounters, including a 4-2 win for Nigeria in November last year, just after both had qualified for Russia. 2 Super Eagles' 21-year-old stars shone. Arsenal's Alex Iwobi scoring 2 goals, and Leicester's Kelechi Iheanacho another. Combined with 25-year-old Russian-based Ahmed Musa, they could give the world's best backup goalkeeper Sergio Romero a tough time. Romero, reserve keeper to David De Gea at Manchester United, didn't play that day, and he was off injured for the last 5 goals of Argentina's disastrous 6-1 drubbing against Spain in March. Next to Messi, he's the key to their chances. The final game in Group D could not have been better scripted. Iceland and Croatia have met 6 times this century, with Croatia dominant with 4 wins, including the crucial match to secure entry to the 2014 World Cup. But Iceland's sole win was the most vital in their romantic run to Russia, topping the Croatians in their UEFA group with a 1-0 win last June. With 4 World Cup campaigns behind them, the Croatians will have a big edge in experience of the occasion. But the Icelanders thrive on their underdog role. In all 4 of their encounters in the last 4 years, one side has been held goalless. So expect the 2 goalkeepers to be the key players of this battle. This is a group that seems destined to go to the wire. Argentina the biggest name, but no momentum. Iceland the feel-good story, Croatia the turmoil, Nigeria with the worst ranking, but the touch of flair that just might pull off something special. Still to come, Peru expected much from Jefferson Farfan and were disappointed, but it's not too late for him to deliver. Hasn't made the World Cup in 36 years, so Russia 2018 will be charismatic forward Jefferson Farfan's first and likely last chance to repair a once promising career, stunted by injury and the perils of ill discipline. Fame found Farfan fast. He signed at 17 with Alianza Lima, winning 3 Peruvian titles, 4 straight Eredivises with PSV Eindhoven, and made a big money move to Schalke in the Bundesliga, helping them to the 2011 Champions League semi-final. But through it all, his party boy persona has muddied his reputation back home, and a slew of injuries and suspensions meant he was sidelined from the national team for long periods during what should have been his prime. In CONMEBOL qualifying for the 2006 World Cup, only the great Ronaldo had scored more goals than 20-year-old Jefferson Farfan. But just 1 year later, he received an 18-month national team ban, shortened to 3 months, and then another suspension in 2010, both for breaking team protocol. He spent 7 seasons at Schalke, but injuries took hold, and he became a shadow of his former self, moving in 2015 to Al Jazeera club in the UAE, and leaving just a year later over a contract dispute. Finally, at 33, Farfan has found some peace and some form for Lokomotiv Moscow in the Russian Premier League and the Europa League. And back in the national team, where he has always been a key figure at peak fitness. With 4 goals in qualifying, including a crucial goal in the Interconfederation playoffs against New Zealand, he has led Los Incas to the World Cup.
Thanks to you. Thanks for the support and for the great support that we have today. Truth is, we are very happy to have qualified.
It's been far from a smooth journey, but now he's made it. Jefferson Farfan can assert himself as a contender on the road to Russia 2018.